Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and I'm so glad you're here with us today.
And I'm Julia, your co-host. Thanks for joining us. Whether you're walking, studying, or just relaxing, we're excited to help you improve your English today.
That's right. In this episode, we're going to talk about a really important and practical topic: how to talk about your daily routine in English.
Yes, talking about your daily routine is one of the first things you learn when studying English, and it's something you use all the time. For example, when meeting someone new, introducing yourself in class, or even in a job interview.
Exactly. And by the end of this episode, you'll learn useful vocabulary, common phrases, and simple grammar that will help you speak confidently about what you do every day, from the moment you wake up to the time you go to bed.
We'll also share our own daily routines to give you real examples, and we'll help you practice speaking with us. So stay with us and let's make your English more natural, step by step.
All right, are you ready? Let's get started. So, let's start with a simple question. Why is it important to learn how to talk about your daily routine in English?
Great question, Jason. Well, first of all, it's one of the most common topics in everyday conversations. People often ask, "What do you do every day?" Or, "What's your typical day like?"
Exactly. Whether you're at school, at work, or traveling, someone might ask you about your day. And if you know how to answer confidently, it shows that you're comfortable using English in real life.
Also, talking about your daily routine is a great way to practice using the present simple tense, which is one of the most important grammar points in English. For example, we say, "I wake up at 7 a.m." or "She goes to work at 9."
That's right. Daily routines help you build a strong foundation in English. It's simple, but powerful. You don't need to use difficult words, just clear sentences that help you express your habits.
And one more thing, when you can describe your day, you can connect with people more easily. You can share your life, learn about others, and feel more confident speaking.
So true. So, even though it may sound basic, it's actually a very useful skill not just for beginners, but for anyone learning English.
All right. Now that we know why it's important, let's move on to the words and phrases you need to talk about your daily routine.
All right, let's dive into some key vocabulary and phrases you can use to talk about your daily routine. These are simple, everyday words that are super useful.
Yes. Let's start with some common action verbs you'll probably use every day. We'll say each word, give an example, and pause a little so you can repeat after us if you'd like.
Perfect. First one is wake up. Example, I wake up at 6:30 a.m.
Next is get up. This means to leave your bed. Example, I get up at 6:45 a.m.
Then we have brush my teeth. Example, I brush my teeth after I wake up.
Here's another one, take a shower. Example, I usually take a shower in the morning.
How about this, have breakfast or eat breakfast? Example, I have breakfast at 7:30.
Next, go to work or go to school. Example, I go to work at 8 o'clock.
We also say start work or start school. Example, I start work at 9 a.m.
Other helpful verbs: have lunch, finish work, come home, cook dinner, watch TV, go to bed.
Yes, let's go over a few of those quickly. I have lunch at 12:30. I finish work at 5. I come home at 6. I cook dinner around 7. I watch TV after dinner. I go to bed at 10.
Nice! Now let's look at some time expressions that are useful when talking about your routine.
Like in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, at night. Example, I go jogging in the morning, or I read a book at night.
Also words like usually, always, sometimes, never. Example, I usually drink coffee in the morning. I never skip breakfast. These words help show how often you do something.
Awesome! So just with these basic verbs and time words, you can build your whole routine. And we'll show you how in the next part.
Yes, don't worry if you don't remember everything right away. Just listen, repeat, and practice often. Your brain will learn over time.
Exactly. Coming up, we'll share our own daily routines so you can hear how all these words come together in real conversations. All right, now it's time for the fun part. Julia and I are going to share our own daily routines using the vocabulary and phrases we just learned.
Yes, this will help you see how these words work in real life. Let's keep it simple and clear so our listeners can follow along easily.
Perfect. I'll go first. Here's my usual weekday routine. I usually wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I get up, brush my teeth, and take a quick shower. After that, I make a cup of coffee and eat a light breakfast, usually just toast and eggs. Around 7:30, I check my emails or do a little reading. At 8 o'clock, I start work. I work from home, so I just go to my desk and begin. I usually have lunch around 12:30. After lunch, I go for a short walk if the weather is nice. Then I continue working until 5 p.m. In the evening, I relax a bit, maybe watch a show or listen to music. I cook dinner at 7, eat, and then I usually go to bed around 10:30.
That's a nice routine. It sounds productive but relaxed. Okay, now it's my turn. Here's what my day usually looks like. I wake up at 7 a.m. and get up right away. First, I drink a glass of water and do some light stretching. Then I take a shower, brush my teeth, and get dressed. I usually have a quick breakfast, sometimes cereal or fruit. At 8 a.m., I leave for work. I take the train, so I listen to music or English podcasts during the ride. I start work at 9 a.m. and finish at 5. I usually eat lunch with my coworkers around noon. After work, I go to the gym or sometimes meet a friend for coffee. In the evening, I cook dinner and watch a little TV or read a book. I try to go to bed by 10 p.m., but sometimes I stay up later if I'm watching a good movie.
Nice. I like how you added some little details like listening to podcasts and going to the gym. It helps make the routine feel more real.
Yes, and that's something our listeners can try too when you talk about your daily routine. Try to include details. It doesn't have to be long, but saying things like, I drink tea in the morning or I walk to school makes it more personal and interesting.
Exactly. And notice how we both used present simple tense for everything. I wake up, I eat, I go, I work. That's the basic structure for talking about habits and daily life.
And don't forget those little time expressions in the morning, at night, around noon, after dinner. They help organize your story.
So now that you've heard our routines, you can try making your own. Don't worry if it's not perfect, just start with short sentences like, I wake up at 7. I eat breakfast at 8. I go to school at 9.
Exactly. Keep it simple, and with time, you can add more details and speak more naturally.
Coming up next, we'll explain a little grammar to help you understand how and why we use the present simple tense in routines. Now that you've heard us talk about our daily routines, let's take a moment to explain the grammar we use the present simple tense.
Yes, this is the most common tense when we talk about things we do every day, like habits, routines, and facts.
So, what exactly is the present simple tense? It's when we use the base form of a verb to talk about something that happens regularly.
For example, I wake up at 7, she eats lunch at 12, we go to work at 9.
Now, here's something important. When we talk about he, she, or it, we usually add s to the verb. This is a very common mistake, so pay attention.
Right. For example, I go to school, but he goes to school. You work every day, but she works every day.
Here are a few more. I watch TV. He watches TV. They finish work at 5. She finishes work at 5.
Good examples. Just remember if the subject is he, she, or it, add an s or es to the verb.
Now, Let's talk quickly about negatives in the present simple. If you want to say that you don't do something, you use don't or doesn't.
Yes, for example, I don't drink coffee in the evening. They don't go to the gym on weekends. She doesn't eat breakfast in the morning.
Did you notice the verb goes back to the base form after don't or doesn't? We say she doesn't eat, not she doesn't eats.
Exactly. And now, one more thing questions in the present simple. We use do or does at the beginning.
For example, do you get up early? Do they work on weekends? Does he drink tea or coffee?
So here's a quick summary. Use the base verb I wake up, we eat, they go. Add s for he, she, it. He wakes up, she eats. Use don't, doesn't for negatives. Use do, does for questions.
Great! Learning the present simple takes practice, but it's so useful, especially when you're talking about daily life.
And the more you listen and speak, the more natural it becomes.
Coming up next, we'll guide you through a fun and simple daily routine dialogue between two friends. So stay with us. Now that we've covered the grammar, let's focus on some useful sentence patterns and questions you can use when talking about your daily routine. These will help you sound more natural and confident.
Absolutely. First, let's look at some statements, simple ways to talk about what you do every day.
For example, we can use, I always wake up at 7 a.m. She usually has lunch at noon. They go to the gym in the evening.
Notice the words always, usually, and often. These words help you describe how often something happens. You can also use words like never and sometimes.
Exactly. Here are a few more examples. I never skip breakfast. He sometimes works on weekends. We often take walks in the evening.
Now, let's move on to questions. This is really useful when you want to ask someone about their routine.
Right. Here are some simple questions you can ask. What time do you wake up? What do you do in the morning? Do you have breakfast at home?
If you're asking about a specific person, remember to use does for he, she, or it. Does he go to work at 9? Does she like to read before bed?
Great point. You can also ask follow-up questions like, what time does she get up? How do they spend their evenings?
Yes, and don't forget you can also use how often to ask about frequency. How often do you go to the gym? How often does she eat out?
Here's a good tip. If you're not sure, just keep it simple. Even basic questions like, do you eat lunch at work? Or, what time do you get home? Will help you practice and start conversations.
Exactly. Asking about someone's daily routine is a great way to get to know them better and practice your English.
So, whether you're talking about your own day or asking others about theirs, using these sentence patterns will make you sound clear and natural.
Now let's move on to a quick practice round where we can ask each other a few routine questions. Ready, Jason?
Let's do it! All right, Julia. It's time for a quick role play. We're going to ask each other some questions about our daily routines, and we'll try to answer naturally using the sentences we just learned.
Sounds fun. Let's start. I'll ask you first. Jason, what time do you wake up every day?
I wake up at 6:30 a.m. most days. How about you, Julia? What time do you wake up?
I wake up at 7 a.m. almost every day. Do you have breakfast at home?
Yes, I do. I usually have toast and coffee. What do you usually have for breakfast?
I usually have cereal or fruit. How do you get to work, Jason?
I work from home, so I don't need to go anywhere. How about you? Do you take the train to work?
Yes, I do. I take the train and I like to listen to music or a podcast during the ride. Do you go to the gym after work?
I don't go to the gym, but I like to go for a walk in the evening. Do you go to the gym after work?
Yes, I usually go to the gym in the evening for an hour. What time do you usually go to bed, Jason?
I try to go to bed around 10:30 p.m. How about you?
I go to bed at 10 p.m. most nights. It's nice to have a good night's sleep. Do you ever stay up late?
Sometimes, if I'm watching a good show, but I try not to stay up too late.
I understand. Well, that was a great practice, Jason. We covered a lot of good daily routine questions.
Yeah, that was fun. And it's a great way for our listeners to practice, too. Remember, you can use these questions to ask your friends or family about their routines, and it's a perfect way to keep the conversation going.
Exactly. You don't have to ask all the questions at once, just start with a few and see where the conversation takes you.
Before we wrap up, let's share some quick tips on how you can create and practice your own routine in English.
First, start with simple sentences. It's okay if you don't know all the vocabulary right away. Just focus on using basic sentences like, I wake up at 7 or I go to work at 9.
Exactly. The more you practice, the more confident you'll get. Use your real routine. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it's important to speak about things you actually do every day. This makes it easier to remember and use.
Another great tip is to write down your routine first. This helps you organize your thoughts and make sure you're using the right vocabulary. You can always improve your sentences later.
And, of course, practice speaking out loud. You can do this with a friend, family member, or even just by yourself. The more you speak, the better you'll get.
Don't forget, consistency is key. Practice every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Over time, it will become easier and you'll sound more natural.
So, take a few minutes every day to talk about your routine in English. You'll be surprised at how quickly you improve.
And that's it for today's podcast. Thanks for listening, and we hope you'll join us next time.
Goodbye, everyone, and happy practicing. Before we finish, let's quickly talk about a few common mistakes people often make when talking about their daily routine in English.
Yes, it's important to be aware of these so you can avoid them. The first one is using the wrong verb form for he, she, or it.
That's right. Remember, if the subject is he, she, or it, you must add an s or es to the verb. For example, I eat breakfast. She eats breakfast. They go to work. He goes to work. It's a simple mistake, but it can make a big difference.
Another common mistake is forgetting to use do or does for questions and negatives. For example, don't say you wake up at 7 a.m. It should be, do you wake up at 7 a.m.?
And for negatives, don't forget to use don't or doesn't. For example, I don't drink coffee at night. She doesn't go to the gym in the morning.
Exactly. Finally, remember to use the present simple tense for habits and routines, not other tenses. For example, don't say I am waking up at 7 a.m. every day. It should be I wake up at 7 a.m. every day.
Great tips, Julia. Just keep practicing, and you'll avoid these mistakes in no time.
And that's a wrap for today. Now you know some common mistakes to avoid, so get out there and start practicing.
Also, if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and share this with a friend who might need a little extra help in their English learning journey.
And if you want more tips, tricks, and fun challenges to boost your English skills, make sure to check out our other episodes. Keep practicing and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we grow.
Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back soon with more tips to help you on your English learning journey. Take care and good luck with your practice.